All right, I think it's officially maybe my fault this time.
Really? How so?
I don't know. I'm the one that's supposed to know why it doesn't work, right? That's my favorite at work is when people are like, well, why doesn't it work? I don't know.
Have you tried restarting?
That's generally the most popular go-to, right? But it's funny in the time of when shit doesn't work, right? It's just like, what do I do? Like
everybody panics.
Everybody, yeah. Well, they don't know. They just sit there and stare at you or stare at the screen or whatever and complain that it doesn't work.
Yep.
So, but it's all right. Nonetheless, we're here Thursday. Facts, Lies, One Truth Network. Two Joes Want to Be Pros. You're making a comeback. Ox and Mice here. You now have a winning record. You're matching me. Although I was thinking about this. We probably should have done ROI percentage instead. Because there's plenty of losing records out there that are good.
I've considered that too.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because I've had a losing record on action before, but a positive ROI. Because I'm hitting some of the longer bets. So, But it's like, I don't know, it's too late now. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's too late now. Because, like Illinois, when they beat Kansas, that was a there's plus 115 or something. I don't know. And then all the sack bets have been really solid.
They've been plus money too.
Plus money too. But yeah, dude, when that sack hit this weekend, I was pretty ecstatic. That was basically, I've had a couple of defensive tackles hit. Dexter Lawrence, we'll talk about him later in the show, for the Giants, has a sack there. And then Jalen Carter this past weekend as well for the Eagles got a sack. I guess it's really the Browns.
I was going to say, we're just targeting the Browns. Let's be real about this. Yeah. They gave up. Deshaun Watson gets sacked 8 times a game, so it's a really good bet. Just anybody on the team, click.
It's pretty nuts. I don't know what the record is, and I'm sure it's probably higher than the Browns. It might be, but like if you look at the sacks per game, sacks allowed, they're 2 full sacks ahead of any other team. They're over 5 a game. Everyone else is over. The guys that are teams that are second, third, fourth, they're at over 3.
Okay.
So it's almost 2 full sacks a game. It is bad.
So bad.
I know. So, but they're making me money, and the sack prop is kind of killing it. I think I have 2, maybe. I don't know. I kind of want to get your vibe on a couple of these, but we'll kind of dive into it a little bit. As always, lock to cover. We'll start early. Well, we'll start with the simple stuff. You guys know where to follow us. If you're one of the video portion, and if you're more of an audio person, you've been wondering about the video portion, you can check us out on YouTube and check us out on Facebook. Both video portions are on there. And then if you're any type of audio, you can find us on all your podcasts. A lot of people that are in podcasts, you know where to find them. And then action. We got a lot of good action stuff, so you can find us. Here's our QR codes to scan. Give us a follow there and follow our bets. Because we talk about a lot of the kind of premier games here on the show, right? But that doesn't necessarily always go into depth on our best bets, right? You're definitely good with that. I'm going to start kind of doing that some more because this Texas-Oklahoma game, that was worthless to make a best bet. Kind of got bid on it. They got, and I'll go into that when we do the where we were wrong. I got something to say about that game. But anyway, if you want to follow the bets, snag this QR code and you can follow what we got. So anyway, we'll jump right into it. Where we were right. We'll do the good stuff first. Jags and Bears, over 21.5 completions. That kind of was a couch cover, kind of wasn't for Caleb Williams. I don't think you took it. I didn't talk you into it, right?
I did not take it.
Okay, well, you should have.
Well, he hit 23. It wasn't a couch cover.
And he had 19 in the third.
Okay.
And he sat on it. Yeah, and I think he didn't even hit until about, I don't know if you want to call it halfway. It was like that weird 3/4 mark in the fourth that he hit it, but he only hit 23 and that was it. So it was just a simple bet that was hit. That was all. But I was really pleasant to see it.
Yeah, it's scary when the team's up 21 points.
I know, man. And
going into the fourth and you're like, I just need a few completions here, but I don't know if they're going to throw.
Yeah, the turnovers too, giving them great field position so they don't necessarily need to throw as much, stuff like that. I had Browns at Eagles, Jalen Carter over half a sack. That was pretty sweet. I think that hit in the first half. So that was pretty awesome. They already had 2 sacks before he got one. So I was kind of watching that closely. But again, Browns make me more money, at least on the sack prop front. We just talked pre-show. They're over 5 sacks a game allowed. Deshaun Watson. Do they ever bench him? Deshaun Watson?
It doesn't sound like it.
Really?
I mean, everybody's calling for it, but the coach is adamant. That's our guy. He's our guy. He gives us the best chance. He keeps saying that every press conference.
He may not have a choice.
No, I was going to say that may be down to the owner saying we're giving him $60 million a year. You're going to play his ass.
Man.
Yeah, it's a brutal situation. If you're a Browns fan, I'm sorry, because your team's not decimated this year. Your team's decimated for about 3 years.
And they're not bad. And they get Chubb back, right? They got him back. Not that what's his name was bad.
Yeah, Deontay Foreman or Jerome Ford.
Jerome Ford.
Two other guys, yeah.
I don't think they were bad. But Nick Chubb was, I'm assuming, top 5 running back 2 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say so.
And their defense it's just tough. Do we blame Watson? When you let up 1 million sacks a game, it's kind of hard to blame the quarterback, but it's not like he's good either. I don't know.
That's the thing. Like, the sack is kind of a quarterback stat too. If you listen to the pros, because he's holding on to the football forever.
That's it.
And he got away with that in Houston when he was young. He would run around and he would make plays. And here he's just not making plays. And he's not as mobile as he was. And their line sucks too. It's a combination. It's not just one thing. But either way, you found a bet to attack, and you might as well keep attacking.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where you do it until you lose, I guess, right? You had Lions at Cowboys, picking on the Cowboys again, which proves to be beneficial. Goff is now, it sucks, man. The survivor pick we had, the Lions have had obviously a very good year. They had a good game. They just didn't score when they were on that side of the field. I'm talking the Buccaneers game here, the survivor pick we had with the Lions. And they beat up on the Cowboys, man. So the Lions are a good football team, and Goff looked kind of rough, the first couple of games, but he's fine now.
Yeah, he's picked it up. I agree. I was scared, not for this game, but after his first couple games, I was like, "Uh-oh, Goff's going to turn back into a pumpkin."
Yeah,
but he's picked it up big time. And I did say when I gave out that bet that I think the Lions are just going to push them all over the field, and they did. From a rushing standpoint.
Yeah.
Because the Cowboys are so decimated on their defensive line, and Pittsburgh just isn't good enough to take advantage of that. And I just thought Lions are going to. And that is the true definition of a couch cover there.
Yeah. Losing Aiden Hutchinson is a tough hit on them moving forward, but because he was kind of on the sack all-time sack route there, maybe. Doesn't matter now. Chargers at Broncos. That was a game we kind of really hit on a lot. Ended up being a blowout in the beginning, but the Broncos trying to make it something.
They did.
Bo Nix, 22 yards. So I had the prop there. If you follow me on Action, I had the Bo Nix prop passing yards, 189.5. That actually dipped down for a lot of people to around 185.5. So I was on the wrong side. 22 yards in the first half. Thought it was a dead bet, and then NFL strikes again.
Fourth quarter, baby.
Yeah, not a best bet, but definitely ended up making it the hit there. But the Chargers -3, they look pretty solid, I would say, for the most part, winning that game handily. I know a couple pros. I think that was about a 50-50, but the pros were definitely a little bit all over the place there. But you were on the right side. Right?
Yes.
On the right side.
At 23-0, I felt amazing about it.
Yeah.
Then the fourth quarter happens, and you start to see it, and you're just like, no way. No way. Thank God that the Broncos kicked a field goal late, to push it to 7 before the onside. Because I was like, if they keep going for this and I get a push, I'm going to be so pissed off. Being up 23-0 late in the third quarter.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we got the win, we got the cover. Broncos showed life, enough life that I'm on them tonight. Even though nobody listens to this before the Thursday game.
Right. Yep.
But there's something there.
So, are you on? What side are you on this Thursday?
Broncos side.
Yeah, me too. It was a boosted bet on Hard Rock.
I was going to say, I saw that number you got, and I was like, how the hell did you get that?
I wasn't going to bet the game because it's kind of a mess in terms of rookie quarterback with kind of a rookie quarterback, Spencer Rattler. So I was like, this is kind of a mess. But anyway, -110 when this was originally -145, 147. I was like, throw some lunch money, will be all right. Yeah. But yeah, then you had another good Derrick Henry hit here. As well with his rushing yards, which you were pretty solid on that in terms of talking about it. So that's a nice hit.
Yeah, that one felt good. That was 2 weeks in a row I had really good props. I have another prop this week, but the past two I felt really strong about. I'll get into this week when we get there. But yeah, that was another one. He hit it like, I'm going to say start of the fourth quarter. I mean, very beginning of the fourth.
I mean, he had a monster game, man. I mean, 24 carries for 132, 5.5 with 2 touchdowns. I mean, fantasy owners are chilling, you know.
Yeah.
You can't ask for more from a beast like that. I
was surprised that number was so low. I was just like, why is this set at 80 yards? I didn't get that versus the Washington defense. That was my only fear. Just, you know, it's one of those like, why is this so low? But nonetheless, we got to the window.
Freaking Bobby Wagner leading the Commanders in tackles, doubling the second place tackler for them.
Hadn't that guy like 40 years old?
That's why I made that note, yes. Where we were wrong, this hurts real bad for me. That's 2 weeks in a row. That's why I'm trying to get rid of these best bets that really just suck ass. Been 500 the last 2 weeks. ROI has been pretty good. Sack bets have been saving my tail, but nonetheless, Wisconsin at Rutgers moneyline, bestest bet last week, was absolutely awful. Just destroyed. Wisconsin has never lost to Rutgers ever, and they continue that streak now again. I guess I was kind of just believing that Rutgers could kind of dig into the Schiano, years from previous stint here, right, when they were ranked in the top 10, right, with the Ray Rice team. But they sucked, and they weren't even close. And then I also had Texas versus Oklahoma. Sorry, it was a neutral site. And it's funny. I did not necessarily watch the game. We did text on a minor level. I was on site working for DV Sport then. But if you take away that weird stint that you spoke about, the 3 minutes or less in the second quarter, was it 14 points or 21 points? I think it was 14 points.
Oh,
it was 7-3. It was 7-3 Texas, and they went up 21-3 in less than 3 minutes of the second.
Yes, because they got like a 60-yard play, and then OU fumbled the very next play, and then OU fumbled again on the next series.
Right.
So I want to say they got 17 points in the final 3 minutes because I had them plus 7.5 first half. I was feeling great about it.
I thought that might hit. I knew it was close, right? Anytime there's time on the clock, you're watching it. But if you take that away, so the final score was 34-3, right? It was 21-3 at half. You take away those 2 turnovers. Let's say they kind of run out the clock or nothing happens. Let's say best case scenario, Texas scores another 3 and it's 10-3 at half. What is this game like in terms of second half? I know you could go on a days talking about scenarios. I'm just saying this final score is a little bit different than we really can tell. Oklahoma can't score, so they were going to lose anyway. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm just saying that it wouldn't have been as bad. The cover could have still been at play at some point throughout that game. It just was really odd to see that kind of shake out so late in that quarter. I mean, it's just tough. I mean, you got to think. Touchdown at 2:34, and then a quick touchdown again at 1:51 in the second.
Yeah. It was brutal, man.
They didn't score. Here's why I'm saying this. I'm sorry to hammer this. I know you're probably licking your roots. They didn't score again until 1 minute left in the third.
I mean, OU's defense was trying to do everything they could.
Man.
But OU's offense, in addition to not scoring, turned the ball over 3 times or something. And we knew going in they had to win the turnover battle. They had to. OU, that is. Yeah. So when they had those 2 back-to-back fumbles, because like you said, if it's 10-3 at half, OU comes out with a completely different game plan. They can still try to slow play that like they were doing in the first half, just grind out some first downs, let their defense rest. But when you're down 21-3, now you have to open up the playbook, and you don't have the roster to open up the playbook. You just don't.
Dude, it's just awful looking at what they have on offense. Hawkins is doing everything. 19 for 30, 148, had 20 carries for 27 yards. I know it's terrible, but he's trying to do it all.
Yeah.
On the offense.
Well, we have no receiver still. So.
And all the receivers that you had out before the bye week are still out now.
Still out, yes. Top 5 coming into the year. So our number 1 receiver was our 6th guy coming into the year.
Yep.
That's hard.
That's kind of why it was a bad bet. Anyway, moving on. Another teaser for you's down. I'll say this before you mention the the losing teaser. VSiN podcast I listen to, they give out teaser bets. That's kind of a segment they have on what they call the Megapod there from the numbers game. He said going into this week for their teaser bets, they're 2-16.
Yikes. That feels right.
It's a bad take.
It's
a tough teaser year, I think.
It is.
When generally it's like you've had, it's been a solid teaser approach for the NFL. But you have another losing one. Jags, Falcons, right?
Yep, Jags, Falcons. Falcons came through, great. Jags just continue to suck. Get destroyed by everybody.
You would think against a rookie quarterback, first time in London. Rookie quarterbacks never won, always bad against the spread. Yada, yada, yada. You're giving Jags some more points, and they weren't even close.
No. And they get to face another rookie quarterback, so we'll see if they can make another rookie quarterback a winner.
Yeah, and I'm assuming this one's worse, but shoot, I don't know. The Jags make a lot of people look good, at least right now. Right. So back to, I guess, the same winning percentage, so to speak, 13-11 yourself. What great comeback. You got to give yourself that. Right.
Great 3 weeks, man. 8-3 over 3
Love
weeks.
It. If you could only keep that 3 weeks going here into the end of the month, going into the first week of November, that would be great.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've followed any many of your bets. Maybe I should continue to not follow them.
Every time we follow each other's bets, they lose.
That's what I'm saying.
I was like, I went on Rutgers, got destroyed.
Yep.
That's we should probably just stay away.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the bad juju that continues to follow when we both bet on each other's things. It's the sack bets that maybe it's props. There's a different vibe there.
Well, the sack bets I started following because I was like, these are good bets, and I'll follow this one too this week.
Yeah. So okay. Anyway, moving on, so we can hop into the NFL schedule. I was going to hit that first. Let me get my browser up here. Eagles at Giants. I'll go ahead and let you lead us off. I have some notes on this. Every time I research, and I'll start with this. Every time I feel like I research the NFL here, I always feel like I have such a difficult time. I just scratch my head and think that there's no chance that I'll hit any bets just because I just think it's so hard. I respect NFL bettors to a great degree. And I'm talking the pros, the guys who really dive into research. I just, there's a lot of things that go a lot of different ways, and it just really stressed me out.
Yeah.
But anyway, what you got?
Well, that kind of leads right to my note, because this week, stayed up late last night.
Okay.
And so we're gonna do a real fucking deep dive on these 3 games. And I always come with some stats and some things I know about the teams, but I was like, let's go deeper. Let's use some data I've never looked at before and really try to parse this. And let me tell you, coming into this week, I feel less confident than I have the whole year.
It's awful.
I just think I got so lost in the data that I was like, I don't know how to make sense of this now. It's like, so I'm going to have to figure that out, because I love doing it, but it was just like, fuck, there were so many contradicting things that I was looking at that I was like, what am I going to settle on this week? So to that point, I came in loving the Giants +3. Ended up not being a best bet because I left saying, I don't know. Now I still have the bet, but it's not a best bet. What I ended up going with on this game is the under 43. Happy to see that all the tickets are on the over, and almost 50% of cash is on the under. Love seeing that. That was something I even looked at after I made the bet. The reason I went with it, the Eagles just don't feel right offensively. Just every game they're getting yards, so this could be a bad bet because they're getting yards, but they're not converting those to points. This has the feel of the end of last year, where everyone just seems out of sync a little bit stuck in mud. Jalen Hurts only throws deep balls to A.J. Brown or crossers to Devontae Smith. They are not that hard to defend, in my opinion. They had a huge play against the Browns, a couple of huge plays, and that's what they did in that game. When I have watched the Giants this year, their defense has been a big surprise, because last year, they had Wink Martindale. He's one of those defensive coordinators that drives me crazy, because game plan, same every week. Same with the Colts defense, same game plan. We don't adjust offense, just same game plan. I didn't know who their DC was coming into this year, but I've watched enough of their games now that I'm respect, especially when they're shutting down the Bengals. And they've had a decent little schedule, and their defense is just stepping up, man. So the D-line is obviously the strength of that team.
Yes.
They lost Kayvon Thibodeau to IR, but that was before the Bengals game. The one concerning thing about this bet is we don't know about Dexter Lawrence or Brian Burns right now. They're both questionable. PFF still has them in the lineup, and it's sometimes hard with these questionable labels, in the NFL, because it's a lot of times they just give guys time to rest, because they need it during the year. It's a grind. So at least the early indications I've seen, they're going to.
Well, I lost you. I'm going to say this. and I was going to cut you off, but I didn't.
I'm back.
Okay. But I got you on this. I was going to back you up because I have the same huge concern. Talking about Lawrence and Burns on the D-line there. They haven't practiced all week. They haven't practiced today either. Right? So they haven't practiced for the last 2 days. Dude, I got a huge concern here. We hit a sack bet earlier this year. Sack prop, sorry. Over and a half sack for Dexter Lawrence. He's a stud. Debatably the best defensive tackle in the league. I think he's ranked 3rd. I've skimmed over that earlier.
Well, you forgot about Chris Jones. Calm down.
Yeah, I'm okay. Chris Jones, he's an he's an edge rusher, I guess, so to speak. He's a defensive end.
Oh, because the 3-4 scheme, I guess. I look at it as more D-tackle, but he does go everywhere.
Okay, nonetheless, right. Dexter Lawrence is top 3. How about top 3? Top 3. He's definitely ranked top 3 in the grades. Okay. So if he's out, it's a huge concern. Burns also didn't practice, huge concern. I have a lot of concerns with that. So kind of going along with your point, Hurts has a lot better passer rating with the pocket clean than he does under pressure. So that's going to tip it over. Like you just said, he was going for a lot of deep passes to A.J. Brown, right? They're kind of two-dimensional, I guess, a little bit. They still have a really good running back. I think he may be a little bit overused, but they still got a good running back. So that's kind of my little bit concerned there. Put it this way. Here's where I stand on it. Not a best bet, not a thought. I didn't like it. It kind of scared me looking more into it, especially with the injuries. You know, when you get injuries, man, it gets weird here in the NFL. You know what I mean? They also have, I don't know what you're showing, but they got, looks like he was playing week 3, had some snaps 4 and 5. Now he's going to be back starting Isaiah Simmons at linebacker for the Giants. So they also maybe have kind of a backup linebacker at play here as well. Because I'm assuming, I don't know why they're playing him. I don't see necessarily any injuries that say at the linebacker spot, but at least the PFF is noting that they have a starter in there. That's not usually, I guess, their starter. At least it's not even in starter snaps. That concerns me as well. I just think there's too many question marks here, and I'm just going to stay away. I just don't. I know the Giants are not as good as the Eagles, right? In a general sense, but I don't know. Like you said, I was on Giants +3. Now I'm not. I don't know.
Yeah, well, so the only thing I disagree with is I don't think the Eagles are a better team.
Oh wow, okay.
I don't. Man. Okay. I'm telling you, this is the Eagles that finished the season last year. This isn't the Eagles that started it last year or the team before that. It's just not, man. They're not gelling under Kellen Moore. And so if those guys play on defense, I love this bet though, because the Giants, if you look at what they're doing, a rush defense standpoint, that's their strength.
Yeah.
And it's because those guys just clog the hole, man. Then they put pressure though, so the defense has to get rid of it quickly. So you can't sit back there and just chuck it up to 8.
Yeah, I agree with the only thing I did see here on PFF is noticing that, and maybe it's because it's my inexperience here with PFF specifically, is Phillips. Hold on, I'm checking it out here. Andrew Phillips is their corner, specifically. That's kind of playing in the slot. Why is he not getting more snaps? That's the only thing. He's getting. He had 26, so he's getting more snaps. He didn't play a lot. Week 3 could have been banged up. Week 5 only played in passing downs. I see specifically he had 26 snaps on passing snaps last week, but he's got a really good grade playing as their slot corner specifically. Only playing as a slot corner. I know I don't know if you get Diggs there in the slot, that's going to be a tough matchup there. But anyway, well, Alex says his audio back. I don't have I think he was talking about the under. We have that on the screen. Yeah, 43.5. See, it's going down. Especially, well, if the 2 defenders are out, that could make it a little bit different, you know?
Am I back now?
You're back. I hear it's weird. I hear it's like a swooping in like a cloud.
When it does, I don't understand. It's like I fucking breathe wrong and I lose my audio.
It's been a weird day. It's not my birthday. It's Halloween, but I don't think it's my birthday's giving the bad juju. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, but anyways, yes, Phillips, he's a rookie, so maybe that's why he's not playing a ton, but he's also only used in the slot for some reason. Like, they're not using him.
Round 3 pick selection out of Kentucky, nonetheless. Yeah. But I have no idea, but I'm going to be interested. Are you playing that, at least the 43 that you got? Are you playing under on that? Are you actually playing it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it in. I got it at 43.5, but it's down to 43 now, so that's the number I'm giving out.
Okay. All right. I love
Yeah.
it. Let's move on.
I'm in, man. It's a little risky, but I'm in.
Hit the Lions last week. You did. Lions at Vikings. This game was incredibly difficult for me too. Again, I know I just said that to lead this segment, but
Well, we're in the same boat.
this game is so difficult. I hated researching. I wanted to tell you this game sucks because I have no clue. Vikings are undefeated. I know it's a big game. Vikings are undefeated. The Lions have one loss, which they really shouldn't have had, right, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nonetheless, Aiden Hutchinson's out, which is, I think, a concern considering what a great year he's having. If you take away the big game that he had 5 sacks in, where is he at in terms of being an elite in terms of stats? He's still a great defensive lineman. I'm not trying to take anything away. I'm just saying one game was half the year's sacks. But I'll lead us off here. Both defenses are having significant injuries, man. I didn't really go into necessarily where we were at currently with those injuries, but it really worries me. I mean, it's just that time of year, man, right? You got a lot of injuries, a lot of things you need to pay attention to before you start making these bets, right, that kind of stick out. When does the shoe drop for the Vikings, right? When does this shoe drop? I mean, Aiden Hutchinson is on the IR, right? They have Barnes is on the IR for the Lions as well. If you go over to the Vikings, looks like they might be getting some. I mean, I looked at this yesterday, so I'm just kind of coming to it. But I know one of the linebackers is out. And also, Goff is playing super well. I'll say this. This is my trend stat of the week because I always kind of give out trends. I'm trying to do it less, but I got 2 for you. Since 2019, this particular matchup between these two teams, the only has only hit one time.
The over?
Sorry, well, I don't know what I said, but I said
the only has only hit one time. That was really good.
The under has only hit one time.
Under has only hit one time.
Since 2019. Yeah. The under has only hit one time since 2019. And Vikings are off a bye. Buys, I think. The bye sounds great, but NFL's weird, I think. I know it gets guys healthy, but I don't know. That's the NFL. Shit gets weird. But anyway, undefeated teams since 2003 with 13 plus days rest are 27-15. I don't think it's that astronomical. I think it comes down to coaching and health. Mm-hmm. Take that for what you will. Usually undefeated teams are good teams. And with more rest, they're still good. So is that still valid? I don't know. Goff's playing better. I think this is a tough bet. Here's what I do have.
Okay.
Over 50.5, just based off the weird injuries. Some linebackers being plugged in here on the Vikings side of the ball here. And Goff's playing well, and their corners aren't elite, so to speak. But the Lions offense is pretty damn good. One of the best O-lines in the league in a general sense, right? They are top 5, and they have a 2-headed monster running back. We don't need to go in the Lions and how good they are. We already know that. But I like the over 50.5. I think both teams score.
There you go. You're on the pro side because I actually have the under in this game.
Oh boy!
Now I got it at 51.5. 51 is a key number.
Okay.
Right, that is a key number. So at least we're sitting on the other side of it. But I listened to some more things after I bet it. I don't know if I love it. So I didn't give it out as a best bet.
Okay.
But I'm still invested. And I'll tell you why I went that route. So the best bet, by the way, I do have the Lions +2. Got it grading it out 1.5 because that's what the number is now. I think the Lions are going to win this game, obviously. I also have them in a teaser leg because I'm going to keep fucking firing on good teasers. We'll get to the other leg in a second. This is just a division game. I don't see them losing by more than a touchdown in this.
Yeah.
Even when the Lions or the Vikings have got up, like versus the Packers, they let them come back in it. Same with the Jets. Off the bye weeks, kind of the only concerning thing because their coach is really good, Kevin O'Connell. He can draw some things up. But we also have some film on Sam Darnold now. So when does that fall? I don't think when do the Vikings. It's when does Sam Darnold come back to reality a little bit. Aaron Jones, I don't think he's going to play this week. Indications are he's not going to play. I think he is one of their very, very good playmakers, even though he's been in this league for a long time. But here's where I came down to the under. It's kind of a little bit the Sam Darnold. I'm going to bet on some regression from Sam Darnold. Their receivers, so I went and looked at this. The Vikings receivers are absolute fucking man beaters. They crush against man coverage, man. They're rated so high, but they don't do as great against zone. So then I go and I look at the Lions. Okay, what do we play? Well, they're pretty split, actually. I think that shows that the DC actually changes his game plan. So I am banking on this guy using more zone coverage because their corners are the weakest part of their team for the Lions. So if they play man, under's a dead bet. It just is. So I'm hoping we see some more zone from that. From the Lions side, I think they're going to be able to run the football here. And I don't have it pulled up in front of me right now, but that was something going through the lineups, right? I'm like, I see a path for the Lions running the football. And the other reason I think they're going to have to is because Jared Goff is rated second when he sees man coverage, and he is rated 22nd when he sees zone. What Briansburn does, we know he blitzes a ton, but he likes to play more zone behind it versus cover zero. It's kind of the weakness. So I think if the Lions are smart here, they're going to have to run, and they're going to have to use a lot of play action off that run and try to slow down the blitz a little bit. So anyways, with all this being said, man, I just think we're not going to get into a shootout. I know that's what the trends say with these teams, but I think the way the teams match up, just what I looked at, and the pros are against me, I'll admit it, but what I looked at from a matchup standpoint, I think we could get to a 24-26 game here, something like that, which obviously holds the under. And then going back, so Detroit Lions are 21-9 ATS as an underdog with Dan Campbell, and 9-1 in their last 10 games. They've also beat the Minnesota Vikings the last 4 times they've played. So that led me also to wanting to take the Lions here. So that's basically all I got.
Yeah, it's weird. The last 2 pass rating grades on PFF for Donald have been awful. 47.9 and 47.3 against the Jets and Packers there. So he really hasn't had – I know he had 3 TDs versus Green Bay, but necessarily didn't grade out very well. So it's going to be interesting to see. Maybe this is a make or break here. Is this where, a really good team in the Lions actually breaks, I guess, Darnold's kind of run here? He's been grading out poorly, but still winning, so it's definitely overlooked. But it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I just like the under based off some of the injuries I saw. We'll see how it shakes out, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, you made good points on the injury stuff too. So
yeah, it's just we thought the same thing earlier this year with the Bucs having their secondary injury, and they end up beating the Lions. So yes, sometimes it doesn't even necessarily matter. So anyway, next we got in line. I got some good stuff on this one, at least some stuff that kind of pertains to my bet is Chiefs at 49ers. Right, Chiefs are undefeated, but had some close calls. Niners have a very easy schedule, or have had a very easy strength of schedule played, but are 3-3. Right? No McCaffrey, still hanging in there. Still have a fine running back. Right? They're still hanging in terms of grade. Brock Purdy is the number 1 quarterback that's graded out in terms of the quarterback position. So the Niners are hanging on. Chiefs are at the Niners currently. I don't know if you got it at a pick'em. If that's what you have here, I'll bring it up here if I can. There we go.
I think they're still plus 1.5, and I snagged that 1.5. I did not go.
Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe I'm the one that kind of kicks you out there on the audio. Is it me? It's probably me. I think it's me. I'll stop doing this. I'm never bringing this up again. Oh wait, I made it go away. Okay, there we go. All right, I'll say what I got here. Here's my bet. This is a best bet for me. Okay. Chiefs at Niners. Okay. We'll go to the main layout here too. Okay. I got you back. Chiefs at Niners. Okay. And this is a lot, the Niners aren't that bad in terms of, kind of how they grade out in a general sense. In some facets of their game, they're pretty strong. One thing that is,
I was going to say their offensive efficiency is like through the roof too.
Yeah. Still. But one thing stuck out to me big time, and because this is always, actually, I'm assuming the most important part of football is they're ranked 26th in tackling.
Damn.
Which kind of stuck out. And then also they're ranked 24th in rush defense. Okay. That's kind of what their biggest weakness is. So if you can't tackle and you can't stop, well, I guess mediocre at stopping the run, I guess, bottom half. And since Kareem Hunt came back, they've been really kind of feeding him the rock, especially week 6. Okay. 27 carries in week 6. Not a great average, but they gave him the rock a lot. So I'm just going to cut to the chase here. I love the over 49.5. Jumped on it quick. Don't know what it's gotten to here.
I think it was at 50 before I popped on it.
Yeah, I saw this morning different books had it 49.5, so it's still hanging out there if you want it. Kareem Hunt has only played weeks 5 and 6. Keep that in mind. So it's a little bit raw in terms of his numbers. But I think due to the poor tackling, I think they're going to try to feed him the rock a little bit more. But we'll see.
And receivers down.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So that's why I'm leaning there. I didn't really see any advantage. I would like to think just because the Chiefs' record necessarily isn't. They should have lost to a Bengals team, but they barely beat them, right? So they should have some losses. I guess it really comes down to is how good you think the 49ers really are. I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, right? They don't necessarily have the same Howard-powered offense they used to have when they had Tyreek Hill and all them. But they still have Mahomes, and they're still a solid team. They still win games when they have to, right? Just because they're 5-0 and they should have lost to a couple other teams doesn't mean they're bad or whatever. Oh, they're lucky. Dude, it's the NFL, man. You know how it is. You just win, you move on, right? It's the March Madness style.
Yeah, it's Patrick Mahomes effect. If you want to get to it, okay, just win games. I mean, and Andy Reid too. Yeah, because they're still really efficient offensively. Jeez, they don't bomb people down the field now. But I mean, God, you look from an efficiency standpoint, like, yeah, they still know what they're doing. Yeah. So where are we at with this game? Okay, so a couple things. I think this game confused me more than most. This is I was looking at things.
Yeah.
Because you on one hand you have Mahomes, who's an absolute beast when he's a dog or a favorite of 3 points or less. I mean, he has like a 73% cover. It's the best as like a dog. That's Patrick Mahomes. When he's a dog, he covers. So there are going to be guys that just play the Chiefs based on that alone. The 49ers, though, their offensively is like they were number one last year, and they're even more efficient this year.
Yeah.
But they get in the red zone, and they fucking suck, man. They get in the red zone, and they bottle up, and then for whatever reason in the second half, they just let teams back in it. I don't know what's going on there because they're far better than what their record is, right? I will say I support the Kareem Hunt thing because I was kind of looking, do I go juju bet here because he's 3.5 receptions? I think he's going to be a big target. And the way to attack the Niners defense, too, they have two linebackers that suck. Fred Warner, absolute beast. Number one graded linebacker in the NFL. He's a stud. His run grade's elite. His pass coverage grade's elite. But what do they do with him? Do they put him on Kelsey? Because if they do, their other two linebackers are so weak. That's where teams attack, man. And Andy Reid, I just trust Andy Reid. He always knows where to attack defenses. So I think they're going to get some success there. On the Niners side, I have George Kittle over, I think, 50 yards, 53 yards receiving. We'll get to it on the best bet screen. So reason is, if you look at the Chiefs, they allow the first or second most receiving yards to tight ends in the NFL.
Okay.
They have really good. So Leo Chenal grades out very good as a run stopper, but not very good in pass coverage. Nick Bolton kind of the same way. They're not great against pass coverage. But their corners, Trent McDuffie's a stud. Their other guy, Justin Watson, pretty good. I'm not going to call him a stud. Where the Chiefs are elite is their run defense. They shut down CFB in the Super Bowl last year. So I was also going to look to take some Niners unders for rushing, but they don't have anything posted because Jordan Mason's questionable right now. So there's nothing posted on it. So that's an angle I'm going to look at later in the week. But I wanted to get it like a prop on this game. And the best thing I saw was George Kittle. If you go back and look who the Chiefs have played, like Mike Gesicki had like 9 catches for 96 yards against the Chiefs. Isaiah Likely blew up against the Chiefs. If you have an athletic tight end, the Chiefs have not been able to stop them very well. Now, Mahomes effect, the other leg of the teaser with the Lions is the Chiefs. Get them both. It's a standard Wong teaser, right? Through the 3, through the 7. So those are kind of the only way I look to tease games anyways. Either, you get them down from like a 7.5 down to a 1.5,
Correct.
or vice versa, or 2 take to 8, right? So there's 2 really good legs, and I just think I talked about the Lions already, and the Chiefs, if they're going to lose, they're going to lose a close game. They don't really get blown out with Patrick Mahomes, and I think they're going to have a path running the football here. So anyways, that's where I'm at. So I have George Kittle over 51.5 receiving yards, and then I have the Chiefs as the second leg of the teaser. Don't feel great, like confident enough to give the Chiefs at 1.5. Based only on the Mahomes stat,
Yeah.
Because the Niners just are too good offensively and they've sucked in the red zone. But if they get that fixed, that's what could cause problems for the Chiefs.
Yeah. I know you'll have a heavy eye on this game, so it's going to be interesting. I think considering their weapons are a little bit different now, having Hump back, I don't think my book does it, but I was also checking out. I wonder if they get Hunt more involved in the passing game and doing a rushing and receiving prop.
They usually have that.
Which also was my thought. I went for the rushing just due to the amount of carries he had last week. Right. So that's kind of why I attacked that. But all good points. I do like it. I do have a sack bet here. I have nothing on anything, unfortunately, in terms of what I can bet yet. I think they know. It's funny. The sacks that are listed are ones that are not worth it. So either the odds are so bad in terms of like minus 165, minus 145. It's like, that's not worth it because he could very easily not, or not listed at all. I'll go back to the Browns and make it quick. It's not on the script, but I'll make it quick. Bengals at Browns this week. Browns average over over 5 sacks allowed a game. Line is still terrible. Let's cut to the chase. Go look at Trey Hendrickson. 20 sacks last year for the old Cincinnati Bengals. Okay. Very strong. Had 9 sacks the year before, 16-14. So he's a pretty strong rusher. Edge rusher. That's what he's listed at. Wow. This year's been kind of up and down, so to speak. Right? Carolina, kind of a dud. Right? Only one quarterback hurry. That was in week 4. And they actually won that game, funny enough.
He was injured for a bit, though. I think he just came back there.
He was. His snaps have been a tad all over the place. All you need to know for the bet is he had his most snaps played in passing snaps last week. Right?
Okay.
That's going to be something that's very beneficial that you do know. He had 32 total snaps played. He did have 31 passing snaps played earlier this year. This is his worst grade so far since 2019. Had 2 sacks last week versus the New York Giants. Okay. I like him this week. I would say he's probably the best pass rusher, so to speak, for the Bengals. Right? Even though necessarily it might not pop out on the screen. Because he's having 20 sacks last year. Snaps are increasing, or had his highest. 31. He's kind of had an off year, but he had his best game probably in terms of grade. Either that or the Kansas City game, it looks like, this season. I expect at least maybe a better second half, but I like it against a really poor line this week. I'm hoping, since he hasn't had a ton of sacks so far, I'm hoping to see a better odds this week. Maybe get like a plus 115 again for a half a sack.
Okay.
Is what I'm hoping. So I'm sticking with that. Trey Hendrickson. I think this one's a little riskier. If you want to be completely candid with you guys, this one's a little riskier. Yes, the Browns lighting up a lot of sacks does make you feel confident, but the Bengals' defensive side of the ball in general is a little worrisome. I guess they did play better last week, right? They only let up 7 points against the Giants. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, so a little better last week. I understand it's Daniel Jones. But I'm hoping this week that a lot better look here coming from their defense in terms of sacks.
He's going against Jedrick Wills Jr., who sucks. So,
dude, if you just look at the freaking line, dude, they're freaking awful. Dude, they're freaking awful.
It's really bad. I think there's going to be some regression to the positive, though. There has to be. Because if you also go look at some of their guys' pass stats, like, they played way better in the past couple of years. Way better. Their offensive line, but not Wills Jr. Not Wills Jr. He's not one of those guys. But you look at Joel Bitonio, Pochik, their center, Jack Conklin, who just came back last week, I think.
He did. Yep, you're right.
Those guys the past 3 years have had way better grades. But Hendrickson looks like he will line up against Wills, who historically has sucked. He doesn't have any good years. He was just a 10th overall selection. So they're going to keep plugging and playing him, I guess. So I don't mind it. Let me ask you this on this game.
Yep.
This is interesting. And we'll move on here. Bengals, if you remember, just the last couple of years, the Browns always play the Bengals tough. Do you remember this? Like, always, even when they've sucked, they will upset them. They cover the spread. And I'm asking for my Pick'em League. Because I think the spread is 4.5 in the Pick'em League. And I kind of want to take the Browns, but I can't stand backing Deshaun Watson in this offense.
Yeah.
But we get Nick Chubb back. maybe this offensive line gets a little bit more under their feet. And the Bengals just historically, past 5 years, have not done well against the Browns.
Yeah.
You have a
Oh, I lost you. You hit it. But, well, I will say, yes, I do have a feeling on it. I think it's so shitty that you get 4.5, I think is what you said. The 6, I think it's up to 6 now. Oh, my gosh. What's that?
5.5.
Man. I like that, get up higher. But nonetheless, I'm with you here. And they got 2 linemen back now that you said that. Conklin Dunn were back last week. So that's big. And they're not bad. Well, at least they weren't in history. They weren't bad.
And it takes a couple weeks to get your feet underneath you, right? You know?
As an offensive lineman, I think it does. I mean, that's with any position. I mean, look at fucking Cam Rising for Utah. He sucks, but he didn't play for 2 years.
Right.
He didn't play football for 2 years, and he can't play football at all now. Anyway, yes, the answer is yes in any position, generally speaking, unless it's a skill like necessarily receiver. I mean, if you're an athlete, you're an athlete. Just, get back in the flow. But my only concern is it's going to be about the run, and we all know that the weakest point really is their pass D. They had Hill back. They have Hill back. The Bengals do. I could easily see it being with less than a touchdown. How about that? 7 or less. I don't know. But the team, an NFL team with definitely getting their 2 linemen back, aren't this bad. They get a running back, and then I'm kind of hanging on this Judy thing, bro. I don't know when to stab it. I don't know if it's this week. Him only getting a limited amount of targets last 2 weeks really concerns me a lot. It's, what it's going to be for if Watson gets any time, it's going to be somebody you don't know for the Browns, I think. Like a Joku. Joku did have a good week last week in terms of receptions. But that's like a Joku or a Slot is going to go. I don't know if Elijah Moore's their choice, sure, but it's not going to be Judy. I don't think. I could be wrong. I don't know. I thought we had him number 1 losing Cooper. I thought it makes more sense that he's getting it, but I just think he's just more of a deep ball threat or bust, and he's been known to drop a touchdown pass or 2. So
yes, he has.
The answer to your question is, it sucks that you get 4.5, but
it's not much of a difference from 5.5. It's not really a key number. If it was at 6, that would be a big difference.
I know. I heard on VSiN here that people got 6.
Yes, because it was there for 12 hours at least. I bet it was 6.5 actually. I think it got to 6.5 for a second.
6.5. Wow, that's okay.
Yeah.
Just the division game is insane, man. That really kind of tugs at the old strings. I would say strictly because of the rivalry for it. I'm still going to go Bengals here. I'm sorry.
Are you?
Strictly feel, not much research done.
Yeah.
They've looked better. They're not as bad as they were, I think.
I mean, and all their losses were close, It's not like they were getting blown out and being bad. It was just their defense was pathetic.
I mean, they're beating Kansas City at half, 16-10.
Yeah, and they got some guys along that defensive line back for the Bengals. So, yeah, that's where it's just tough. We can move on. I'm just – because I'm not going to put money on it. It's more just like in the pick 'em league, who do I pick? And
Answer your question is I'm going Bengals for that.
You're going Bengals.
Okay. College football here. Great weekend, really, if you want to just focus on it. It's conference time, a lot of conference matchups, kind of full throttle. Really the best 2 matchup. This is why and we get to this game in a second. But this is why Texas and Oklahoma joined the SEC. Is for these massive games as such. The Big 12 didn't really bring that. At least they haven't in the past. This is why they joined it, is for insane matchups as these. But the first one we'll touch on earlier in the day to kind of lead up, kind of get your liquor on here early, and then on 3:30 time, Alabama at Tennessee. I'll lead us off for this one. I'm a big guy against the old the big games, right? Talk a lot of shit. Don't bet them. Yep. Don't touch them. Vegas knows too much. I love this. Okay?
Okay.
I'm just going to say it out loud. I love Alabama -3. I love it. I don't know if it's
a podcast, so you have to say it out loud.
That is true. I don't know if you want to call it a bestest bet. I really like it. We kind of said, we touched on this a little bit last week. Teams coming off overtime, it's always kind of a topic of concern, right? A tough dogfight game. Tennessee, Florida is always a really good game. Whoever is at home always generally wins, right? Tennessee pulled it out barely. I thought they tried to throw it away, kind of. They didn't want to win, but I don't even know. The game was a really good. I actually listened to it on radio. To be completely honest with you, I was driving home from the DV Sport game I did, but it sounded awesome on radio, and it's just because Tennessee didn't really want to win until they did. Nonetheless, home dog Heupel's only 1-4 with his only win coming against Alabama a couple years ago.
Yeah,
at home. Funny enough, they were plus 9.
Shootout, right? Like 52-49 or something.
And they were plus 9 and they won. So that was a nice money line bet. Damn. So take that for what you will. But 1-4, it a little bit concerns me. Like I said, overtime scares me. Really dogfight, right, with Florida, right? I would say it's a rivalry game. I would have to ask my Tennessee guy if he thinks it's the same with Florida. I'm talking about the Florida game. So there's a lot of emotions there. You know what I mean? So I'm a little bit concerned with that. They're college kids, right? They're still young. Tennessee's strength of schedule is 82, right? Their non-conference schedule, they didn't have a point or whatever. Kent State was involved there, 77-0. So it's always fun in games with Tennessee, right, in the early going because of the non-conference schedule. When they hit the conference play, it's when they fall apart. So Alabama's ranked 6th in their strength of schedule. They always generally have a stronger strength of schedule, definitely more than Tennessee. But they always have that one non-conference game that makes it stand out. Bama's 24th ranked they have a 24th ranked pass rush, right? It's gotten better as the season's gone along, actually, is their pass rush. And 76th ranked pass protection for Tennessee. Nico Iamaleava is not very good. You see how I paused and looked up to make sure I said it right? He is not very good. He turns the ball over. Yeah, I tried. Wait till I'm going to say it 3 more times after a couple sips here. It's not even better. I like the pass rush against their pass protection. Nico is not a very good quarterback. I just have a lot of concern with that. That right there is the reason I like -3. You know, I'm a trenches guy. That's my trenches play there. Nico's passer rating under pressure is 35.7.
Oof.
Right? I
got some other good stats for you.
You got some more. I'm almost done. Okay. So it really is going to come down to this, in which I know it's an obvious statement, but in college football, there's a lot of teams that run the ball well. So this is not always true. It comes down to who you think can go win a game. Can Milroe go win it for you, or can Nico go win it for you? My bet's all
easy.
It does. It does. I understand this game's at Tennessee. Over 100,000 fans. This is going to be huge for them, right? Whoever loses this game, I'm assuming is knocked out of the playoff. This is it for them. Okay? DeBoer has been embarrassing himself the last 2 weeks.
Been really bad. That was what I was going to ask, if the past 2-week performances concerned you at all.
Well, yeah, but I think he's better than this, and I think Alabama's better than this.
Okay.
Yeah. The strength of schedule is strong. Vanderbilt has proved to be better than they usually are. So totally. Maybe they're not as bad a team. And South Carolina's not a bad team either.
Not at all.
They're not.
They're going to smash OU this weekend. So.
Oh, jeez. It could be a 15-10 game. I'm just kidding.
No,
it might be. They both like to run. But the O-line's so bad for Oklahoma, and the pass rush is so good for South Carolina. Good God. Hawkins might not have a job because he's injured after this week. Okay, anyway, I like Alabama -3. What do you got for me?
So, I mean, I was leaning Alabama. You really talked me into it. The statement of, do you trust Nico or Jalen Milroe? So here's the stat I was going to give you. Are you familiar with The Athletic? I think they do.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Okay, yeah. So I have a subscription there because I think they do way more in-depth stuff than ESPN does. They did an article on the SEC quarterbacks, and I was like, ooh, let's go. Rated number 1, our boy from Vandy.
Paiova or whatever. Paiava.
There you go. Yep. Jalen Milroe, too. Okay. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, where's Michael Hawkins in this? And he's like, out of 16, whatever, he's like 12th. And that makes sense. He's a freshman. He's trying.
Yeah.
Didn't have no receivers, no offensive line.
Correct.
Last place in the SEC. Nico.
Iamaleava. Yeah, wow.
Last fucking place.
Even worse than Kentucky's quarterback. He's terrible too.
Yeah, he was last place, man. And Milroe, like I said, he's been impressive. Alabama's just played a tougher schedule, so their offensive line has been challenged more. Tennessee hasn't played a hard schedule. Like they thought OU was going to be hard. What OU does well is their defensive line, and they sacked the shit out of them that game. They just didn't have to score very much. Then he goes and plays Arkansas, then Florida, not great, not as great of teams, like good, respectable, but not great. And he sucked versus them, man. The only thing that was like keeping me from making this bet prior to this was I knew we were going to talk about it, so I wanted to see what you thought. Because it's 2 sleepy games for Alabama, which I think can be an advantage for them. You know, because it's like they had a 2-week hangover post the Georgia game. So it's like, I bet they're going to, if they come back to life for this, I don't think Nico can get back with them if Alabama starts strong. And the trenches, I was just looking at that. Like, Alabama has way better grades all across the line defensively versus.
Oh, I lost you. One thing I'll note. Oh, I have a good one here. That's why I said it's going to be. I got you back. That's going to be coming down to really havoc allowed. It's going to be. I think it's on your computer.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to really, like I said, both of them are good defensive lines, right? Tennessee's got a good one. Alabama's got a good one. So the quarterbacks are going to get heat on both sides of the ball here. That's why that's going to come down to quarterback play. And, you know, can they step up, make big throws under pressure? Can they make big throws in general? Receivers going to be catching the ball. I mean, I know it's a lot of basic stuff, but it's not going to come down to a running game type of situation.
Yeah, not at all.
What's your bet on the game? Do you have ones? I'm sorry.
So I was leaning Alabama. That's where I'm going to go, -3. It's not a best bet, but that's going to be a bet for me on this game.
Okay. All right. I like Bama as well. That's a best bet for myself. All right. Let's get into another juicy one. The next one's up is Georgia at Texas. If you look at PFF and you look at their power rankings, this is 1 and this is 2. Right? Texas is 1, definitely. And Georgia is 2. I know they're ranked 5 in polls, but that is what this is. It's tough. I'll just come out and say it. I don't have a bet. I think this is too tough. This is way, way too tough. Texas is too good, but Texas has got to be at a letdown spot. It may not be this game. But
too many big games in a row.
Yeah. Georgia, obviously, Carson Beck, I think he's fine. He's a fine quarterback. He's a good college quarterback. He can sling it, obviously, when he needs to. The only thing is Georgia passes it over 60% of the time. Texas's strength is pass defense, man. Second best pass coverage in the country. Right? Have the 5th best pass rush in the country. Ain't no, right? Like, that just scares the shit out of you, man. He's way better in the pocket. Sorry, Carson Beck. Carson Beck way better in the pocket when the pocket's clean. He's sitting at, you know what I mean? It's way higher there. It's just under pressure, he's terrible. Right? Not good there. Georgia hasn't been an away dog since 2020, and they got killed.
Dang.
It was Alabama, obviously, and they got killed, man. So here's the thing. I'll say this. I'll put the notebook down. I'll just tell you. Everything points towards Texas in a general sense. There are some things with Sark and trends that could steer you back towards Georgia if you're a trends cat. I'm kind of sick of the trends a little bit, right? It supports a bet, right? It doesn't make a bet.
Yes.
So I'm tired of doing that. So many things are Texas's way. Does the shoe drop a little bit? Maybe kind of rescind, and Georgia kind of rise up again and say, look, the SEC is still ours. I do kind of believe that might happen. I do think Georgia's still a fine team. I just don't – just Texas being so good. This is their year. This is it. Texas being so good, it scares me to make a bet. So that's why I'm kind of out of it.
Yeah. So I don't have a bet yet, but I think I'm going to have a bet.
Okay.
So I came into this game wanting to take Georgia. I wanted to, man. Because the Texas OU game, even though it was kind of garbage, it's a huge game. And emotionally, that takes a lot to get up for that. And now you have Georgia coming into town. So I'm like, is this a letdown spot? Now, maybe 2 weeks in a row, so maybe not. But I was just like, man, Georgia, when I have watched them, they look good. But then I go back and look at the couple last 3 games. They're not beating teams by very much. Like, they've had a lot. Like Mississippi State, come on. We talked about them last week.
Yeah.
Worst team in the SEC, probably.
Yeah.
They just skated by.
Yeah.
They beat Kentucky by a point. Kentucky's respectable, but they beat them by a point. I mean, their one good game was Auburn.
And then bad. They're going to fire their coach probably.
Yeah. And so Vandergriff, is that his name?
Yep.
His quarterback?
For Kentucky?
He's second. The only person he's fucking better than is Nico.
I knew it. He sucks, dude. He's not good.
Not good. So I go through all this and I'm like, whoa, I don't want to take Georgia now.
Yeah.
Like, I have no interest. So here's where I'm at. Texas has not played a good their schedule. They have played the worst offenses in the NCAA. That is not made up. That is a real fucking stat. From an efficiency standpoint, they have the easiest offenses they faced all year. From FBS teams.
Yeah.
Every podcast I listened to coming into their secondary was a concern. And now we think they're great. Well, who the fuck have they played? So, and then Quinn Ewers last week, very rusty in the first half. Like, he figured it out and made some throws, but man, he was shaky. And he was coming off injury.
Right.
So what I'm thinking on this game, I'm going to look at live, but what I'm thinking is a first quarter under.
First quarter under.
Because Georgia has also started slow when you look at their games.
Yeah.
And I want to do a whole first half. I know I don't want to mess with the final 3 fucking minute shenanigans. Don't want to do it. But I have not made the bet yet. Don't even know what the number is. Don't know if that's something you can pull up quick enough. But that's where I'm at, man. Because Georgia starts slow. Like I said, if we start slow too, I might also come back and look to take a live over for the full game.
Wow. Yeah. Based off what you just said, live, or at least an over sounds real nice. Just based off that alone. Now I was just looking up the number. I'm sorry here, but yeah, it's 3.5. It opened at 3.5. Texas now is at 5. It doesn't surprise me. Over under is at 56.5 now. Some money sprinkling in clearly on the over there. Just based off that Alabama Georgia game makes me want to believe this could be in a shootout. Teams slinging it. Carson Beck can sling it, right? And obviously, Quinn Ewers being a Heisman candidate can sling it as well. So I could see that. I just don't know, right? I know their schedule in terms of offenses faced, as you noted, is poor in terms of the offenses being poor. But does that mean that their defense is that good or that not that good? I don't know. I guess I just don't have a bet to feel it out. But getting in that 5 range, I'll say this: slight lean to Georgia. There you go. That's it.
I think if you got me to a 6.5, I'd buy Georgia up to 7.
Yeah, Georgia's not that much worse.
No, they're not. They're not that much worse.
No. Nope.
The first quarter under 12.5. Really wish I could have got that at 13.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Anyway, moving on. I got one more for you. Just because I saw this team play. UAB at South Florida. I'll just say it real quick here. I mean, South Florida's got their backup quarterback still. 114th offense is UAB. 117th offense is USF with the backup quarterback now, so it's even worse. 120th ranked O-line for South Florida. 70th ranked pass rush for UAB. So they can't even exploit necessarily that poor O-line. And UAB has the worst rush defense in the country. Right? But UCF passes the ball over 60% of the time, so South Florida can't even run the ball on them, even though they have the worst rush defense in the country. UAB does. South Florida likes to pass it, so it doesn't even matter. Love the under 57.5. Let's go real quick on that. I think it's a little high. And they're on the backup quarterback. These two teams, they don't. South Florida doesn't necessarily suck because their defense is actually pretty good. It's just without a quarterback, they have no offense. They don't run the ball. They go way too fast. They don't let their defense rest. That's why they don't win games, because their defense is always on the field because South Florida can't get first downs. Plus, like, when a team over exceeds, right? South Florida was a team that actually had a very surprising year last year with a second-year head coach last season. Jacksonville State, very similar with Rich Rod. Jacksonville State made a bowl game last year, and I think that was their first year in FCS, first or second. Point is, when you have such a great season like that, when you're not supposed to at all, you got to see some regression at some point. And usually with teams like that don't get great recruiting, great replacement players, you don't see as great a year on the following year. which is what's happening with both of these teams that we just named. South Florida's really taken a big regression back, even though we thought they would actually compete for the championship this year, athletic championship this year. They've taken a big step back. Jacksonville State is not any good either this season. So a lot of these teams that had over excelling years kind of receding back. Really what kind of coming into the year, I know no one cares, but coming into the year, the American kind of best two teams-ish, if you will, was going to be Memphis and South Florida. They actually played last week in Orlando with the hurricane moving them, and it wasn't really even close. Right. Both teams actually looked kind of poor, but South Florida looked really poor. Backup court, they only had 3 points. Really. Yes. So, yeah, that's pretty bad.
It was a tough week for them, too. I mean, hurricane.
I know.
They had to leave the week early. That fucks everything up, especially when it's kids.
Correct. Yeah.
So they weren't in a good spot last week.
Yep, they weren't. I agree. It's probably why you should have hit the under, probably maybe on it. But anyway, last week that is.
Seriously.
But yeah, 57.5 is me just because the backup quarterback both have poor offenses. Trent Dilfer's head coach, obviously UAB.
Yeah, we love talking about Trent Dilfer.
Multiple times we've named him on the podcast.
We have. Here's the thing, Trent. I used to like you more until I watched the Ravens documentary and you complained about quarterbacks now.
Yeah.
Listen, dog. Your defense won you a Super Bowl, not you. Chill.
Yep.
All right. Yep. So, in case he listens, there you go.
If he does, even better. Let's go. I hope he drops a comment. I hope he talks shit about us.
I hope he does too. I hope people just rail us for it.
Maybe get some notoriety.
Good attention.
Okay. Anyway, so we got to recap of best bets. Best bets I have here for us.
Real quick. Only
sorry.
I was going to mention.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know you, and I don't have a lot on this game, and I know you already knew that coming in. But you're under at least.
Oh, okay.
58% of the tickets. Okay, that's fair. 85% of the cash.
Oh, wow. That's kind of a nice
there
30% plus EV kind of vibe there, maybe. I don't know.
PFF's giving the under an edge, so you got a couple things supporting it. I will not follow so that you'll win the bet, but I'm going to follow your pro bets. Kareem Hunt, that was a good one. Anyways.
I hope so. I feel stronger about the Kareem Hunt over my Trey Hendrickson sack bet. I actually have a second one that I've been researching. I want to wait to see the number, so I'm not going to report it yet. But I want to wait to see the number.
Can you say what the bet is? That
if I was looking at it, I got to bring it up here. What was his name? I'm so sorry. I don't have it up. I think it's a defensive lineman, and I don't. It's Dio, D-I-Y-O. I forgot what he was for. Here we go. Colts.
No.
This week.
Okay.
And
Dolphins. Okay.
Correct. So Dolphins are top 5 in the league at sacks allowed. Sorry, you just triggered it. I don't know why I was blanking. It's maybe we're getting low here. That's you know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, the Dolphins are top 5 in the league in sacks allowed. Obviously, having a backup quarterback probably really doesn't help that case too well. You know what I mean? But I was kind of looking at the offensive line, kind of seeing, what we were looking at here. I know these teams are kind of lost in the shuffle, especially in terms of like record and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But if you kind of take a look at it, it sticks. I mean, I didn't even know that they have the best left tackle in the league. That actually is insane. But allowing the most sacks, Huntley is still in, right? But if you take a look at Dio, I think I haven't made the bet yet. I want to see the number. Just want to see the number. I'm just hanging out. It's not a best bet. This is nothing. I know he's usually, and his snap's been going down, but I want to see what the number is because I think this could be a good sneak play for a sack this week. I don't even know how to say his name. I'm trying to. Ida Bing.
You don't try, man.
Okay.
You don't have to get yourself in a doo-doo situation.
Okay.
Gamble.
I'm sorry, but he does have a very. He's shown some strengths in the pass rush game, right? He had 2 sacks versus the Steelers a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Had a quarterback hurry last week. Okay, against Tennessee. So with this top 5 in sacks allowed. The Dolphins, somebody's got to get to the quarterback for the Colts, and I'm wondering if the value's there for him. Right, that's what I'm wondering because he's kind of really their best pass rusher in a general sense. You know what I mean? I know you. I mean, you got a defensive interior guy that you could probably go for, or whatever. But in terms of edge, defensive end guy to get after the quarterback, Dayo Odabingbo.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Oda Bingbo. I'll bet that motherfucker based on his name.
So I'm assuming the odds will be real nice. Probably get you a 155, 165 type thing. Top 5 in sacks allowed for the Dolphins. I know he might be going against Armstead, but I don't read. I mean, you tell me what you think reading into that in terms of if they have a really good left tackle, but their right tackle maybe is a little like, he's kind of meh. They're going to switch him around.
Yeah, like he won't line up on the same spot.
Yeah.
You don't think?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wish PFF would say that because it just says D line. Like obviously he's taking all his snaps on the D line, and I think they have it listed right, like right end, left end. But yeah, they interchange and they do stunts and shit when they blitz.
Yep.
So stunts, he's going to end up taking on the guard or the center.
Yep.
Because the matchup versus Armstead isn't great,
and his snaps have been going. So that's why that's why I want to say the bet. It's not a best bet. It's just I'm looking for value here, and it caught my eye. It was kind of one of those like gut plays. It's like, oh, okay, this sticks. Why is this sticking out?
What about a Quiddy Pay?
So let me go click on him.
Because he's lining up against Austin Jackson, who's never graded out very well.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, his pass rush.
So same game. Yeah.
It's weird. So a lot of the D-line snaps are considerably lower than their previous. Like his snaps are considerably lower than his week 3 snaps. Coming back from injury, I guess.
That would have to be it. Like they're working him back in because you saw he didn't play week 4 or 5, so you have to assume they're working him back in.
Yeah. Let's. Here's kind of how I research it a little bit to give you I kind of go and look like how many sacks on like last year. How did he look last year? How many sacks did he have? Well, this is pass rush rating. You know what I mean? Is he just kind of slow starting? I'll say this. Week 1, he had a sack. Week 3, he had a sack. Came back week 3 and didn't pay as many snaps. I like where your head's at. So you're looking at probably 3 sacks on the board by the Colts, right? Because Dolphins average more than 3. So you're looking at probably 3 on the board here.
Yeah. And the quarterback plays the big thing. I think that's the biggest point. When you get a third-string guy in there, he's going to get sacked. He's going to panic. He's going to take sacks.
Both of these numbers are going to be good, bro. Both of these numbers are going to be good.
I bet we get plus money on this. I'd like to see how high it goes. Like I don't want. Hopefully, it's like we get like a plus 150. Not a plus
That's what I'm looking for here.
Okay. Yes.
If it's anything within a 115, or no thanks. That's way too risky. Not good enough.
I mean, because we got 120 on Jalen Carter and some others you've given out.
Dude,
we're like, this is way better matchups.
I cannot believe those numbers are that good. I was seeing some sack props today, and they're not good. All right, see, this is how you know you're onto something.
What?
Sack props are listed for this game.
They're not.
They are.
Oh, they are.
But guess who's not listed?
Your boy.
The players were named.
Theo.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Pay and they're not listed.
That's lame.
You see, that's how you know you're onto something here. I'm just telling you.
I bet there's nothing listed for the Browns Bengals.
There's not. Either. I look like every 4 hours. I'm just telling you, brother.
Let's see if they even have defensive props. Defense special team props. No, they have team sacks. How lame.
Yep.
I just want to see if I have anything different on this Colts Dolphins game. I like the Colts in this game though. -3 seems too easy.
Richardson never plays. I don't want him.
Yeah, true. That's why it's only -3 because Richardson's coming back. Everyone's like, "Damn it, keep Flacco in."
Yep. All right, best bets. We got Alabama at Tennessee, -3 for me on Alabama. UAB at USF if you want to do a college bet here. USF's on a backup quarterback, and both offenses are ranked higher than 100 in terms of any good. Under 57.5 for the total. Cincinnati Bengals. Trey Henderson over a half a sack. I don't have it listed. Check Friday. If you're looking around Friday for props, it's usually when the sack props get listed. And then Kansas City Chiefs at the Niners. Kareem Hunt over 49.5. That is going to be your 425 game. That's probably, if you're going to go bestest bet, I might stick, I don't know, between the Alabama and the Chiefs Kareem bet Hunt. Here. Yeah, but
his carries are only listed at 13.5. I don't get that either.
Yeah, that's kind of scary now.
I don't know. Maybe it's a Derrick Henry situation where they're just wrong.
I don't know. I hope you're right. Anyway,
Well, I'm gonna follow the bet, so that's the only reason I'm kind of contemplating. My favorite bet of the week, a fucking teaser. Damn it, Chiefs and Lions 7.5. I'm terrified of teaser too because I'm so glad the Vicin gave you that stat.
Yeah,
because that's how teasers have been, and I normally love teasers. I can find the two teams I like. I can identify them, and this year that has not been the case. But I keep firing away.
Yeah,
I'm going to trust the process. So that's my favorite bet of the week: Chiefs Lions teaser. Also have the Lions plus 1.5. Think they're going to win that game outright. Think we see a little bit of the regression from Sam Darnold, and the Lions continue to have a strong run game. Eagles Giants under 43. Do not bet that until you see what the defense looks like for the Giants.
Yeah,
I fired a little early on that. Check on Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns. That's going to make a huge difference to that total. I really do. I think that could go up to 44 if they're announced out, which is the next key number. And then I have George Kittle over 51.5 receiving yards versus the Chiefs. That is where you can target the Chiefs. It doesn't mean I think the Chiefs are going to lose or this is going to be a shootout. But George Kittle's the guy that tight ends are who you target against the Chiefs specifically.
Yeah,
so
George Kittle.
That's where we're at, man.
55.5. I like it. I mean, that's probably is that your first tight end play of the year? I know best bet wise, but
yeah, it is my first tight end play of the year. Yeah,
I love it. Okay, all right. Well, that's it for us, and we will probably catch you guys next week. All right, see y'all.